Hi guys, how are we all doing? Karibuni sana to Transform 360 with Susie, with your girl, Susan the psychologist. And guess what? We started a very interesting topic on matters parenting. If you've not watched the previous, kindly go back and watch that. Why? Because it's first of all a good way of just forming the foundation of this topic and just reminding us that if you are a parent, you are actually very, very blessed, and it is a privilege for you to even just be having people under your care that you're helping to birth destinies and their purposes. And so what, guys, this is what we're gonna be doing for today. Yes, we have started the series on parenting. If you are a parent, if you have friends, if you're planning to bring forth some life into this world, not only now but even in future, kindly do this. Make sure you subscribe before you even continue. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, share with your colleagues, share with your family members, and let us grow together. Let us walk this journey as we begin today pamoja, so we don't have other people lagging behind, because guys, this content is life changing. And so here I am, ready for you people. You know what I'm talking about. And yes, do you know, as a parent, you are like a second god. I know people use that phrase very much, and basically I think the reason why people say that is because as a parent, God has given you so much authority over your child's life. The way you bring them up, the way you treat them, the way you carry yourself, the way you the words that you speak into their lives, all those things will end up manifesting one way or another in the future. And so as a parent, my God, you cannot neglect the role, the God-given role that God has bestowed upon you. And so if we get to understand this, then it actually will dawn on us, and it will hit us so hard that as a parent, whatever it is that you do affects all areas of your child's well-being. Not only the physical, not only the spiritual, but even the social, the psychological, the emotional, and the mental, because nowadays we're so big on mental health. The mental is very, very important. And so you can imagine if a toxic relationship exists between a parent and a child, just try and imagine the kind of damage it has on the mental health and the well-being, the general welfare of children. The impact is just too much negative. It is too much damaging. It is very much destructive. Guess what we'll be tackling? We'll be looking at toxic parenting, and in this session we'll be able to understand whether you are a healthy parent or you are a dysfunctional parent. Are you guys ready for this? Remember, we said we are all about matters growth, and we began by first of all saying that as Transform 360 with Susie, we really appreciate every parent out there. Know that we celebrate you, and even areas of development, we are still here to equip ourselves, to build ourselves so we can become better and better, where we can improve, where we can develop further. These sessions will actually help us to even be better. And so feel at home. Know that even as we tackle this content, we're doing it with so much love so that we can bring out the best in each and every one of us. And so there's a very big difference, by the way, between poor parenting and toxic parenting. It's only a matter of degree, yes? And you can imagine lacking insight, for example, maturity or compassion. Toxic parents may cause a lot of mental and physical agony, trauma, and lasting mental problems for their children. And to understand this, it's important for us to look at the dysfunctional parenting patterns vis-a-vis the healthy parenting patterns. And so probably someone is wondering, so Susan, how do I get to know if I'm a healthy parent or I'm parenting in a healthy manner? One, a healthy parent or parenting in a healthy manner looks like this. You understand your child's feelings. Parents, it is important that even as we raise these little ones or even the older ones, we get to understand the feelings of the child. I know sometimes as parents, we are the ones who are calling the shots. Why? Because we are the ones who are providing. They have to obey and follow whatever it is that we're asking them to do. But even as the kids do these things, do you take care of their feelings? it is important that you understand the feelings of your children. Even as you carry them through life, as you guide them, whatever it is that you say to them, kindly understand their feelings. Let them know that their parents understand them. And even as a parent, strive so hard to understand the feelings of your child, so that you know which best direction to take, how best to say things, how best to package things, because even these children are different. No child is the same. There is that one who will actually come and lash out, come in all that manner, and they will take it, and they will be able to handle it and cope, and even their feelings will not be so much damaged. But there are those who, when you come out in such a manner, you end up destroying them so much. So a healthy parent understands the feelings of the child. Number 2, a healthy parent encourages the children to follow their dreams. Remember, you are not your child, and your child is not you. I know that theory of trying to live out our lives in our children's lives has been rampant for the longest time. But remember, your child is a unique individual. They have their own unique dreams. As long as they are not destructive dreams, then as a parent, you should actually encourage your child to pursue their dreams. And not just encouraging, but support them even as they pursue their dreams, even as they become the best version of themselves, as they become the best version of what God created them to be. Kindly encourage and support them. Healthy parenting, again, a healthy parent apologizes when they make mistakes. Yes, African parents, hero. You know what I'm talking about? African parents, majority this area, they do not buy into that. Me, I apologize to my child? How? No, not at all. They should be the ones apologizing to me. And when I do something, they should just understand me as I am, because I am their parent and I'm their authority figure in their lives. But please, parents, you know what? Like I earlier said, charity begins at home, and these children actually learn from us. Sorry, there's something there. Oops. There's a very big insect that has just passed. I feared for my life. So, children actually learn from what we do, not what we say. And so you cannot be raising your child and telling them when you wrong someone, you should say sorry, you should apologize, yet you as a parent, you're not doing that. Why? Because they actually learn from what we do. And imagine this apologizing just goes a long way. It makes the child understand that yes, you're also human, yes, you also make mistakes. And you know what, you might actually be very shocked, because this will just foster even better relationship between you and your children. So kindly, as parents, when you know you've wronged your child, when you know probably you've told your child something that you weren't supposed to tell them in that particular manner, or maybe you said something that came out of not as you intended, it is important that we learn to apologize. It is okay to tell your child, mommy or daddy, because that's how sometimes we call them, or just tell them, my girl Susan, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, and that's not what I meant. Kindly, I am very, very sorry. Please forgive me. You will be so shocked when you say that to your child. They'll even find it very easy to even just apologize to you as the parent when they wrong you, because they know, my mom, when she does wrong, but then she admits. Plus, it's just part of life, of just teaching them that we are human, and being human, part of making mistakes, part of erring is part of life. It's part of being human, and so it is okay and it is allowed that when you do something wrong, you apologize. Parents, kindly take note of that. And then discussing problems through healthy communication. Yes, that is what healthy parenting looks like. Is there an issue that needs to be addressed? How do you bring it out? How do you tackle it with your children? How you communicate as a parent is very big and very key, because very many parents have lost their children just because of poor communication, and maybe how they bring out a message and how they pass the message across. They don't care about the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions of the child. The way I bring it out, you should just take it as it is. That is not how things are supposed to be. Healthy parents actually discuss problems through healthy communication. And by healthy communication, this is what you mean. You talk as a parent, as a child, I listen to you. When you're done, I talk as a child, as a parent, you listen to me. Are we able to converse? Is there communication between both parties. It is not only one party that is doing the talking as the other one is listening. Yeah, it is important, parents, to foster healthy communication between us and our children, because this goes a long way. And also, how do we communicate? Do we shout? Do we call them names? You know, even in healthy communication, all these things come in handy. Even if you're angry as a parent, kindly let us maintain healthy communication. And so, what does dysfunctional parenting look like? Yes, a dysfunctional parenting style, one. Not even style, let me just say dysfunctional parenting parents, one. Parents who are critical. And what I mean by critical, you're so quick to point out the mistakes of your child, even just trivial mistakes. Wewe hakuna kitu unaweza fanya vizuri. Wewe saa zingine unakuangaje. Hata ni kitu ya kukushinda. Wewe sasa unanishangazanga sana. Parents, please do not be overly critical. Because you know what happens when you raise a child in such an environment, you even just make them not believe in themselves. You make them grow up with a perception of perfection. And you know what? Perfection is not reality. It is not realistic. It ought to be progress over perfection. Have I done better this time? Recognize that. Let it not be that you have these very high standards, you pushing me to be a perfect person, because as a human being, perfection is almost impossible to achieve. We are all work in progress. We are all improving ourselves by the day. So do not be an overly critical parent. That is one of the dysfunctional patterns of unhealthy parenting. Controlling. Yes, a controlling parent. You want to be the one calling those shots and running the life of your child. Even when they are grown-ups, they have married, you want to go and run their homes. Parents, dysfunctional, unhealthy patterns. Controlling. Abusive parenting. Yes, that is a dysfunctional pattern. Abusive, calling your child names. You know, parents, kindly let us refrain from these dysfunctional patterns. Remember, we are exploring the healthy and the unhealthy patterns. That is what we are looking at. Neglecting the children's needs. You know, as a parent, like I earlier said, attachment is actually formed in the process of the parent responding to the child's needs. And so you can just imagine what happens when, as a parent, you do not respond to your child's needs. Automatically, that brings such a huge gap. In you, they're not able to find security. Yes, they're not able to find security. They're not able to find a good balance in life. You put them at a very difficult place as a parent when you fail to meet your child's needs or you neglect them. And when we talk about these needs, it's not just financial needs and physical needs. At you just say, I'm providing shelter, food, and clothing, and that's enough. Not at all. You need to attend to the emotional needs. You need to attend to their psychological needs, their spiritual needs, their social needs. Parents, children, in fact, value so much time spent with them, which is more of even psychological, emotional, as opposed sometimes to the analogy that we have of, if I'm providing everything, my friend, you should be okay. Take note of that. Consistently harmful behaviors. That is a dysfunctional pattern. Consistently harmful behaviors. These could be not only physical, but also verbal and even non-verbal. Yeah? What kind of behaviors do we engage in as a parent? Remember, there are some behaviors that we engage in consistently that at the end of the day turn out to be toxicity. And so we need to take note of that. Repetitive abuse. This, I've already mentioned that earlier. And abuse is not just verbal. It can also be non-verbal. It can also be physical. It can be emotional abuse. It can be psychological abuse. Kindly, parents. Loathing. Judging your children. Criticizing them. Remember I said being overly critical? Criticizing, judging, loathing them. Sometimes even just being sarcastic over their behavior, their personality, their performance. All these things are dysfunctional patterns. Don't be the kind of parent who's always sarcastic, who's always telling them, nilijua utapata hiyo D. Or wasi unakwangaje? Unakwanga na kiherehere mingi. Maybe your child is just a social child, very, very bubbly, and is actually a sanguine. Kindly parents. Narcissism, narcissistic patterns. One, they have lots of pride and ego. They are always the ones who are on the right. They are never wrong. Very controlling, very manipulative, very abusive. They also thrive in lies. All those are narcissistic behaviors and tendencies. Emotional disorders, yes, are also other than narcissism. Someone can have some emotional disorders that end up being actually unhealthy parenting patterns in the children's lives. Remember also, substance abuse, alcoholism, addiction, all these are just considered as dysfunctional patterns of parenting. And what does toxic parenting do? It basically takes away the love from the children. You deny your child the love that you actually are supposed to be giving them. You deny them the warmth. Yes. Imagine just having a cold parent. Your parent is ever cold. That house is like, even military is better, because at least military, from time to time, a military camp, we have warmth scenarios. It's not always cold and tough, and you know what I'm talking about. You deny them of the nurturing that they deserve to receive from you. Yes, parents. And toxicity is so bad. The kind of impact it has on children is and cannot even be ignored. It is very destructive, it is damaging, and imagine you just destroying the future of this child's life completely. And so with that said, something else that we need to remember that is a dysfunctional pattern is always creating an environment of fear and guilt. We should not do that as parents. Kindly, let's allow our children to be children. Let's allow our children to be children. They will make mistakes. They will learn from them. It is part of life. It is part of growth. Because when we do this, all these things, the dysfunctional patterns, when we engage in these things, what we simply do is we bring up children in an environment that is full of fear. They grow to be fearful beings. They are afraid of even just being themselves. They will always feel guilty. They wonder, and they're always telling themselves, probably my mom treats me like this because of this, because of what I've done, because of how I am, because I'm not clever in school. You put them under constant pursuit for validation. And that is why you find scenarios where when a child just gets someone who validates and tells them, oh, you're so beautiful, that is already enough reason for them to give in to the demands of that person. Be it probably someone wants to take advantage of them, someone wants to abuse them sexually. We put these children in an environment where they constantly pursue validation and approval from people. Yeah, but this is supposed to come from you as a parent. And it should not be pegged on the things that they do. Affirm them, speak words of life, remind them how beautiful they are, how clever they are, even if sometimes you get to realize that their school grades are not so good. Remind them, you're smart, my son, you can do it, I believe in you. Those words go a long way in just encouraging a child and bringing out the best in them. You put your child constantly under a place where they feel they are obliged. It is their obligation, their duty to please other people, to do this and that so that they can be accepted. That is not the kind of environment we should create for our children. And so, in our next section, we'll be able to tackle and see then what kind of a toxic parent are you, because we have just tackled dysfunctional patterns of parenting and what healthy parenting looks like. I would like us to introspect and see if there's any trace of any of these things. And remember, we said let us accept to grow, to become better, and to just amend our ways and become better parents, raise our kids in a better manner. And with that said and done, thank you for joining me, and goodbye. we have to cut this here so that we can go to the part 2. Otherwise this session will be extremely long. So bye for now and see you in the part 2.